Hello! I was asked if I could do a Soothsayer build, so here's the video on it. Soothsayer, it's quite a unique class in a way. It consists of Spirit and Nature masteries. Both of those masteries are support masteries, and so a lot of the skills are sort of buffs and debuffs. So Soothsayer is a good support character, but not entirely very good at dealing damage themselves. So there will be quite a heavy reliance on pets. This here, as you can see, is it's one of my first characters actually, who was a Soothsayer, but she wasn't very good. But yeah, I'll just put some videos just so you can see some of the Soothsayer skills. Start with Spirit. First, before I begin, I'll just say that since you are going for pets, there are quite a lot of choices, and you probably won't be able to go for all of them. I say two main ones here are the Lich King and the Wolves. Now, since both of those trees are quite skill point hungry, I would advise you to probably go for just one of them. But if you do manage to, not put skill points in any other skills, and you just really want a heavy reliance on pets, then you can go for both of them. But I would say just concentrate on one of them, but then to have some additional buffs and debuffs. Now, I'll begin with the Lich. Here's a spirit tree. I'll go from left to right with the skills. On the left, you see there's a turn 9 attack. Now, turn 9 attack, it's one of those, since you're most likely to be a mage, a staff user, as with a Soothsayer, turn attack is quite advisable skill, but it's one of those things that you either go completely, you max out, or don't go at all. Having only like a couple of points in it is not going to be any use. So this is highly advisable skill, although I think it's possible to easily go without it as well. Now another really important skill is the Death Chill Aura. Death Chill Aura, it's a debuff on the enemies which come really close to you. Don't forget that the Ravages of Time is actually bugged in the game. You need the fan patch for that, as I already mentioned so many times. Now further skills, we've got Life Drain. That's a good early game skill. I won't really go for it, I'll spec out of it later on. We've got Enslave Spirit. That's quite good early on as well, because you get enemies to sort of fight for you for some time. But later on the difference in the levels would be quite big, so you would fail to enslave some of them. Outsider, that's a good temporary pet. I'll advise you to put 1 point into him. Another good 1 point wonder is Vision of Death. It's good to confuse enemies and sort of make them run in panic. Then we have the Dark Covenant and Unearthly Power. Both are good buffs. Dark Covenant is sort of mostly good for energy regeneration, and Unearthly Power that makes you a lot more powerful for some time. Just be careful though that this whole tree is actually drains some of your health, so be careful of that. It's probably better late in the game, because when you already have loads of health, but earlier on it can be a bit dangerous. Now the Lich himself, if you decide to go for him, he's a really good pet. He's one of the strongest, if not the strongest pet. He deals a lot of damage with the lightning bolt, and he also has a spirit blight, which is a really good attack. And then you've got the others. You've got Death Nova, which is quite good area attack as well, and also it's got the Wrath Shell, which is it's a passive buff. It basically makes him a lot more impervious to enemy attacks. So this is a must tree if you want your Lich to survive, a must skill. However, the Arcane Blast is not recommended, because Arcane Blast is not very strong, and the other thing that a lot of people say is that when you give him Arcane Blast, he tends to concentrate on casting that a lot more than the Spirit Blight, which is a much better skill. So Arcane Blast is not advisable. Then you've got the Spirit Ward and the Spirit Bane, both good 1 point skills, because they are against the undead, and you meet undead quite frequently in the game. Although Circle of Power is not as good. You might put 1 point if you want, but I think Spirit Ward and Spirit Bane should be enough already. Now we'll go for Nature. This has its own buffs and debuffs. If you see on the very left, that's Heart of Oak. It's a very good buff. It increases your health, something you would probably need since Soothsayer is quite fragile. Then you got Regrowth. Regrowth is good for healing your pets, and since you only really have Lich, I only put some points in the base skill itself, but I didn't put any in Dissemination, because you only have one pet, so you don't really need the attack to move on to others. Whereas if you had wolves, you would get it, which I'll mention in a sec. Briar Ward, that's sort of okay. It's not really an essential skill. Wolves, I'll come to them in a bit if you decide to concentrate. If you're concentrating on the Lich, you probably won't have enough skill points for Wolves. Nymph, you might have some points on her, although you should be careful with what you decide to give her, because the overgrowth is not a very good attack, not a very good skill, because it doesn't really protect you much. It's only protected from flat amount of damage, and late in the game, that's just gonna be gone just like that, you know. And finally, I'll move on to the last skill, which is a really great debuff, which is Plague. Really good on groups of monsters. And I'll just quickly mention the wolves. Everything's pretty much the same. The only difference that if you're gonna go for wolves, you're not gonna have anything in the leech, or at least you're not likely to, because you'll need some spare skill points, and you'll have some in the wolves instead. And also you'll notice that with the regrowth tree, I actually put some points in dissemination as well, because if you've got wolves, then with 18 points in the base skill, you'll be able to summon up to 3 wolves. So this means that it's a good idea to have your regrowth sort of bounce about and heal all 3 of them at the same time. So dissemination is a good skill to have. That's as far as skills go. And for concerning stats, since you are most likely to be a mage, I'd say intelligence is the most important stat here. Although if you find yourself running out of energy really fast, then you might want to put a few points in energy as well. Health is not as advisable, but once again, if you're really struggling to survive, you might want to put some points in health. Although you might want to concentrate more on your defenses rather than health. You don't really need strength unless you're going melee style, and dexterity as well. Unless you're going melee style, you don't really need. So that's pretty much it. That's a Soothsayer. Hope this helped, and bye for now.